Hello and welcome to the video. In today's video, we are going to be talking about how to buy a house. The aim of this video is to give you all the information when it comes to buying your first house. So you know what to do and in what order. So without further yapping, let's get into it. So firstly, you need to know what you can afford. The very first step is to get a rough estimate of how much you could borrow for a mortgage. This will give you an idea of the type of property and location you could afford. It may also help you work out how much you will need to save for a deposit. You can easily do this using online mortgage calculators and inputting your salary. It will give you a rough estimate of how much you could borrow. Some lenders offer 95% mortgages that require a smaller deposit. There are also government housing schemes available to help make buying a property easier, but typically you would want a 10% deposit. Now, this is a personal choice, but for me, I like to put the least amount of money into buying a house. For me, when it comes to buying a property, I like to pay the least amount of money that I can. I would rather have that money in other investments working for me, such as a second property or the stock market, instead of being stuck in my home. While other people like to buy with a higher deposit and want to clear the mortgage as soon as possible. Now, this is a personal choice, and it's a personal choice that you need to consider. I have a video about whether you should invest or pay off your mortgage, and I go into details on why I believe you shouldn't pay off your mortgage. I will link that in the description box below, so take a look. It could change your perspective on things. Now, this leads on to the second step. That is to build up your home deposit and savings. If you don't have enough for a home deposit, make a savings plan. You can also create a budget to see where you can cut back and save more. It's a good idea to save as much as you can when planning to buy a home, because a larger deposit may help you find a lower interest rate and reduce your monthly repayments. Even though personally I think you should pay a smaller deposit, but this is a personal choice, so you may want to pay a larger deposit. Your savings can help cover the cost of buying a property, such as stamp duty, legal fees, survey costs, and removals. Your savings can help you furnish or complete work on your new home. Also, there is always unexpected costs that occur, so it's good to have money stashed for those things. Now, when it comes to saving for a house, you could use a LISA, which is a lifetime individual savings account. It works as a tax wrapper and help from the government. So if you invest the maximum for that year into a LISA, which is £4,000, then the government will give you an extra £1,000 tax free. So say you save for 3 years to get your home deposit, this means you have an extra £3,000 from the government, but only if all those years you contributed the full £4,000 into your LISA. But of course, it's not just as simple as that. There are rules and regulations when it comes to buying your home, so it's worth a shout to do some research on a LISA to see if it's something that would benefit you. Step 3 is to check and improve your credit score. Okay, this technically should be a pre-step before any actual step, because when it comes to borrowing money, you need a good credit report. Because when you apply to borrow money, lenders will look at your credit report before deciding whether to accept your application. It can show them how reliable you are at borrowing and repaying money. So, it's a good idea to check your credit report to make sure there are no mistakes. Now, it pays to work on improving your credit score. This way, you can easily borrow money with favorable interest rate compared to if you have average credit score. Think about it in a practical sense. You are in a pub on a Friday night and your mate asked to borrow £20. He said he will pay you back next Friday and with interest, so an extra £1. Now, This isn't the first time he's asked to borrow money from you, and every time he has borrowed money, he has paid you back when he said he will, with interest. So, would you give him the money? Most likely you would, because he has a proven track record of not only repaying you back on time but with interest. You have never had to chase him up for the money. So this mate has a good credit score with you. Now, another mate, same situation, asks to borrow £20, but this mate always forgets to pay you back. You have to chase him up. He then makes excuses and offers to give you a minimum payment such as £5 back to keep you happy, and promises he will pay the full amount another time. Money is a bit tight now. And this is a regular occurrence. Will you give him the money? Most likely not, because this mate has a track record of being flaky and difficult to get your money back from. This mate has poor credit score with you. Now, same situation, but a complete stranger walks in and asks you for £20. Says he will pay you back next Friday. Are you going to give him the money? Most likely no, because you have no idea who this person is. They could be a wonderful person and you do get your money back next Friday, but they also could be a sleazeball and you lose your money. You see, this person has no credit score with you, therefore you cannot make a judgment on their worthiness to borrow money from you. So that is how credit score works for lenders. I also have a video on everything you need to know and do to improve your credit score. I will link that video in the description as well. Now, step 4. Know what type of property you're looking for. Take some time to think about what you need in a home versus what you'd like. This will help you narrow down your search when it comes to looking at properties. For example, what you'd like in a home is 3 bedrooms, a garage or own driveway, a private low maintenance garden. But what you actually need in a home is at least 2 bedrooms, space for parking, outdoor space for a dog. There is no point of buying a mansion when you only need 2 bedrooms. So, when making your list, think about your long-term needs. House prices can go down as well as up, and it can cost money to move. For example, if you're hoping to start a family, finding a place with room to expand may mean you won't have to sell to buy a bigger place later on. Location is also important. Research and visit different areas and ask yourself, what would it be like to live here? What areas can you afford to buy in? What are the schools like? How long would it take to commute to work? Look up the stats on crime and drive around the area in the daytime and also the nighttime, because the day feel and the night feel to a place can be very different. Go into local shops and talk to the staff there about the place, generally how it is living or working there for them, to get an idea for the place. Also, don't just drive around one time. Do this a couple of times. So weekdays, weekends, you want to get a proper feel for that place before you buy anything. Now, on to step 5. Get a decision in principle. A decision in principle, also known as an agreement in principle, gives you a clear idea of how much you could borrow based on your circumstances. It usually involves a soft credit check to look at your credit history, but will have no impact on your credit file. A decision in principle is not a guarantee that your mortgage application will be accepted, but it can help you understand your options and what you may be able to afford. It also shows estate agents you're serious about buying a property. Step number 6. Find the right home, go see it, and make an offer. With your list of requirements in hand, it's time to contact estate agents, search for properties, and arrange viewings. This is also a good time to start looking for solicitors or licensed conveyancers. It may take some time, but when you find a property you want, deciding on the right price to offer can be exciting and scary. I suggest always offer lower than the asking price, because you want to save as much money as possible and get a deal. Another thing to note when it comes to finding your home, never get caught up. Don't buy the property in your head. Always stay calm and rational. This way, you won't end up paying way over the odds, be manipulated into paying more, and also you won't be disappointed if you cannot buy that property. If your final offer is accepted, great, but you still haven't bought anything yet, and the seller can pull out. And if your final offer was not accepted, then no problem, keep looking for your new home at a price you're happy with. Also, ask the seller if your offer was accepted to take the property off the market. This will prevent you from being one-upped by another buyer. Now, I mentioned briefly looking for a solicitor or licensed conveyancer. So let me explain why. A solicitor or conveyancer will handle all the legal aspects of buying or selling a property for you. A good one will keep you updated regularly and can support you by answering questions about the process of buying a property. So they are crucial when it comes to buying your home. And a good way to assess if this solicitor or conveyancer is a good solicitor or conveyancer is send them an email and see how long it takes for them to respond. And do this with various solicitors or conveyancers. This will give you a good idea of how responsive this person is. Ideally, you want a person that's very responsive because you are buying a house which is bloody expensive. So you want someone who's on the ball and has high experience and customer satisfaction. Now on to step 7 is to apply for a mortgage. Once your offer has been accepted on the property, you can apply for a mortgage. There are different types of mortgages to choose from. The one for you will depend on your financial situation, plans, and the type of property you're buying. If you prefer, you can speak directly with a lender or a mortgage broker to help you find and apply for a mortgage. They'll be able to look at a variety of mortgage options for you and give you advice. Some brokers may charge a fee. The mortgage application process can take a few weeks. It involves detailed checks of your finances, and your lender may want to conduct their own valuation on the property you want to buy. If your mortgage application is approved, your lender will send you an offer. Now, when it comes to getting a mortgage deal, remember, you want to get the best deal that you can. There are also tracker and fixed rate mortgages, and which one you choose is down to you. With fixed rate, you know how much you will be paying, so making a budget is easy. But with tracker, your interest rate could go up or down depending on the economy. So that's a personal choice you want to make. You also want to have 6 months worth of pay slips, bank statements to show you meet the affordability criteria. Also, if you know you want to buy a house, then don't apply for any type of credit 6 months prior to making your mortgage application, as too many credit checks harms your credit score. Step 8. Kick off the legal work. A solicitor or licensed conveyancer will carry out the legal work, which can take between 6 to 12 weeks on average to complete. There will also be costs involved. Among other tasks, a solicitor or licensed conveyancer will typically check the legal title to the property, manage the chain for the exchange of contracts and completion, collect and transfer money including stamp duty if payable, carry out property searches to check for any environmental or planning issues that might affect the property's value. Step 9 is to carry out a property survey. As well as the valuation, your lender may have arranged a property survey for their benefit. You should also arrange an independent survey of your own to flag any potential problems. The survey itself will take a few hours and be completed by a surveyor who will then send you a report. You can choose the type of survey you'd like, depending on how much detail you need. You can have a basic type of survey, a more detailed survey of the inside and outside of the property, or a full comprehensive survey, which is more expensive, but it's the one that I recommend, because buying a house is going to be the most expensive purchase you ever make. Therefore, don't cheap out on this. Don't leave any stones unturned. Now, buyers in Scotland can also request a free home report from the seller. This contains an energy performance certificate, a property survey, and a questionnaire. If the survey identifies any significant work that needs to be done, you may be able to revisit your offer with the seller. For example, if a house has some dampness, you may be able to factor the cost of the work into the purchase price. Step number 10. Exchange contracts and agree on a completion date. The exchange of contracts is when solicitors or licensed conveyors swap signed contracts on behalf of you and the seller. It's also when they will ask you to transfer your deposit over to them. When you exchange contracts, you are legally bound to buy the property. You will need to get building insurance in place at this point. Building insurance protects you against the cost of repairing or rebuilding your home from scratch should it get damaged from an insured risk. So, it's important to consider getting the cover you need. The completion date is usually 2 weeks after the exchange, but it can be as little as 1 day after or even take place on the same day. This is when you can pick up the keys to your new home and start enjoying it. And then it's about moving your stuff in, decorating and doing whatever you want to your house to make it feel like a home. So, that is it. You are a homeowner. If you found this video helpful, then subscribe and give it a like. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and take care.